Hi student, it's Kate here. Come back to exercise 6.24, part 4. We are preparing the cash budget, and the previous video I already showed you how to transfer the information from the question to the orange box here, so to make it easier for us to prepare the cash budget. And here I already laid out some of the most basic information that we can do. 4 quarters here, the total and account receivable. And if you notice, I already transfer some of the information that you need that we need, but it's very far back to the original box and we don't want to go back and forth. So I just make one cell here for total sales. And if you click on that cell, you see that I also use the cell reference instead of putting directly the figures in. And you already know the reason because I already talked about it so many times. And the selling price also, I transfer from the original box to here, so it makes it easier for us to calculate. So the first thing is we want to know how much money we collect from sales. We need to know how much is the sales in dollar. And we already have the patterns of sales, and I transfer the pattern of sales from the orange box to here. Alright, so now we can calculate how many units we sell in each of the quarter by taking the total sales, and then we time the percentage, and we do that for all of the quarter. So you see here is so easy and so much convenient because I have transferred the original figures to here. We don't have to scroll very long way back to the original cells. And now we take the sales units and then we times the selling price, and then that it makes 24,000 times 75, 8,000 times 75. And then now we can have a total. Alright, then you can see it is the same as the one that we work out in the revenue budget. And now we have to calculate how much we collect from these sales. Now, I want to separate all the months. It looks scary, but it's actually make things much easier to understand. Now, because I assume I assume that every month within a quarter they make the equal sales. So in January they make 200,000 sales. First, I will work out how much sales per month per January. I take the total sale for quarter divided by 3. Alright? And then you know that the sales in January will be collected 50% in January and 47% in February. So it's fall within the first quarter, Jan to March. So what I will I time the 50% plus the 47%. Okay? So we do the same thing for February. We take the sales per quarter divided by 3 to get the sales in 1 month, and then we times with the percentage we collection in that quarter. So this 50% we collect in February and 47% we collect in March. So it's still in the quarter. Now when we come to March, it's a bit different because the sales in March, 50% of that you collect in March, but 47% of that you collect in April. Alright, so what you can do, you work out the sales of 1 month and then you times with 50% only, because that is what we collect in March. And then the rest of 47% we collect in April, which is the next quarter. So again, you work out the sales of the month and then you times the 47%. Okay, so 3% is bad debt. We don't put it in here. The bad debt expense will be in the income statement, not in the cash flow statement. Alright? Now for April for quarter 2 is similar to January for quarter 1. So the full amount, 97% of the sales of April will be collected in quarter 2. So again, I take 3 million divided by 3 times sum. Alright. So you might think, oh, why I don't just times 97%, so that make it easier. But remember, if I change the monthly collection. If I change the collection patterns, then you just change in the orange box, but not change in here. So that's why we always use the formula instead of putting directly the figures in. And June for quarter 2 is similar to March in quarter 1. So we only collect 50% and then 47% we collect in July, which is quarter 3. Now July divided by 3 and times sum. Okay, for August, same thing. Collect everything in the same quarter. So you take this divided by 3 and times sum. Okay, September again. Remember, September for quarter 3 is also the last month in the quarter. So treat that similar to the way you treat March and June. You times 50% and the rest of that you times 47%. Good. Now the last quarter, we're almost there. October divided by 3 times sum of this and this. I know this looks pretty time consuming, but trust me, it's much better if you know how to work this way, and the more you practice, the better you are. And the last month is 3 and times 50%. So what is the rest of the sales of December? We will put that in account receivable. Now, in account receivable, we don't subtract the bad debts because we don't know yet whether we have collected or not. So we put the whole amount of 50% into the account receivable. So you may wonder why. Because from January to December, that is what we expected to collect. But maybe after December, the collection pattern change, and you may be able to collect everything. So the best is just leave account receivable as the whole amount that you have not collected yet. Maybe you can collect more or less than what you have collected during the year. Okay, so just leave it there. Now from here we can have the sum of everything from January until December. Then I just copy this and I paste it here. Total. You can copy from this and then you paste into here. Paste. Okay. All right. Now we also have account receivable from December last year. So you see the account receivable opening balance is 90. So for the same logic, imagine that December last year, when they record account receivable, that is also 50% of the sales in December. So we want to know how much is the sales in December. So by that, if we know that 90% is 50% of the sales in December, then we know the sales in December last year is 90,000 and times 2. And that is the total sales of December last year. And we know that in January this year, we only collect 47% of the sales in December last year. So after you work out the whole amount of sales in December last year, what you have to do is you times 47%. And that is the amount that you get. So you don't use the whole 90,000 because you know 90,000 includes some bad debt in it. And the 3% is not, you don't take 90,000 and you minus 3% times 90,000, because 90,000 is only 50% of the sales in December. And the bad debt is 3% of the total sales in December. And now we have another item, which is the sales of equipment. And that is 10,000 in January. So now we can work out how much we receipt by taking the total receipt from sales and plus everything else. And then what we can do here is we copy and then we paste. Okay, so here is the sum. All right, that's it. So in the next video we will do the cash disbursement, and if we have more time we can do the cash balance in the same video. Thank you for watching, and I see you the next video.